and welcome to day 15 here in the 24 days of building more muscle with calisthenics training. I'm Matt Schifferly as always, and today's 2 tips are how endless variety and using too much variety in your calisthenics training can be watering down and diluting the intensity of your workouts, and how to use variety to get the most bang for the buck and getting the most effectiveness out of everything that you're doing in your workouts. So one of the most common mistakes that I find a lot of calisthenics athletes make is that they have too many subtle variations in their workouts. Case in point, oftentimes with pull-ups, where people will say, okay, yeah, I do my pull-up training and I use every single conceivable little grip, width, and angle in what I'm doing in order to kind of hit everything in a more thorough manner. And I get where they're coming from this. But the fact of the matter is that when you have such slight variations in your techniques, you're changing things up to a little bit, but it's more affecting like the flavor of the exercise. It's not really making that much of a difference from one of those grips to the other, or at least it shouldn't. Because a lot of times if we're like, oh, if I do this grip, it's all in the biceps, or if I do this grip, it's all in the back or something, that's because you're engaging the muscles differently. It's not because of the exercise variation. Ideally, when you're proactively engaging your muscles to a very high degree, it really shouldn't matter which of those grips you're using. You're working your back, your shoulders, and your biceps pretty much about the same with all of them. You're just kind of subtly changing the flavor of the exercise. But when we have so much of that variation, we're like, I'm going to do like 3 sets of every one of those grips. Now you're taking a lot of volume and you're diluting the intensity of the exercise. So you're just getting through a lot of monotonous work and adding a bunch of junk volume. So the better strategy for using all of these grips and stuff is use it kind of like having different spices that you would use when preparing a meal. Use it for variety, use it to change up kind of the way that the exercise is feeling. You might have one grip that feels a little better on your joints from one day to the next. By all means, change it up, but don't feel like you have to do every conceivable little angle in order to cover all of your bases. Because you want to be proactively engaging all of the muscles along that chain, in this case your pull chain, regardless of the technique, and just focus on getting a lot of intensity with 1, maybe 2 variations, as much focus as you can, and don't feel like you've got to have a ton of this endless variation. If you want to add extra exercises to cover more ground in a workout, make the exercise really different from what you were doing before. So if we were doing, for example, close grip weighted pull-ups beforehand, make the second exercise something like single arm rows. Because now I'm changing the angle that I'm working at. Now I've gone from bilateral to unilateral exercises. You can also change the speed at which you're working at, or the rep range. Like you could have heavy weighted pull-ups for sets of 3 to 5, and then I can do single arm rows for 12 to 15. Even though we're still using the same muscles, it's still pull chain, it's still back and biceps, the same muscles are working, but by changing up the programming of how the muscles are working, you're creating a much broader stimulus, so you're getting a lot more out of the extra work, as opposed to just doing a little bit of a variation, which is basically going to be just more of the same. So you're doing more work, but not really getting that much more benefit out of it. As always, the likes, shares, and everything are greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. More videos here to catch you back up to speed, and let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments, and make sure that you're, of course, subscribed, because we got many more of these videos up to the 24th of December for more tips on building muscle with calisthenics. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Be fit and live free.